Welcome to the SDG Book Club, a global book club to explore the Sustainable Development Goals with the help of stories from around the world and to find ways to solve the biggest problems people and the planet are facing. My name's Elizabeth Suneby, and I'm the author of this book, Razia's Ray of Hope, One Girl's Dream of an Education. It's illustrated by Suana Verelst and published by Kids Can Press. My book is on the reading list for Sustainable Development Goal number 4, Quality Education, which aims to ensure that all children can go to school. Did you know that not all kids get the fundamental right of an education? I'm especially excited because Mia Baron, who is an award-winning actor and daughter-in-law of Razia Jan, the founder of the school featured in my book, will read it for us today. But first, you'll get to meet the real Razia Jan. Razia grew up in Afghanistan, where the story takes place. She spent her whole adult life in the United States and then returned to Afghanistan to start the girls' school. Razia was named a CNN Top 10 Hero, a recognition granted to people who do extraordinary things for humanity.
Hello, my name is Razia Jan. We are going to tell you a true story about a little girl who's my student. You know that in Afghanistan, girls weren't allowed to go to school? But I went there 10 years ago and I built a girls' school in a small village outskirts of Kabul. Education is so important for girls and boys all over the world. Thank you so much for listening.
My cousins and I raced down the road to see what the excitement was about. Men and women were gathering around the empty lot in our village. Anytime we played in that lot, I'd found shards of clay tiles and not much else. This day, ribbons brightened the dry earth. Important-looking adults were laying a large stone on the ground, and women passed out chocolates wrapped in shiny papers. My little sister Zara and I collected as many as we could and stuffed them into our pockets before asking for more. My grandfather spotted us and walked over. I hung my head, afraid he would scold us for taking more than our share of the candy. Instead, Baba Ji pointed proudly to the large cornerstone. "This is where my school once stood." I knew Babaji had gone to school. I loved hearing his stories about learning to read and write and calculate numbers. It sounded so exciting. "What happened to it?" asked my cousin Hamid. Babaji looked at the ground. "It was destroyed by 17 years of war." "But what's happening today?" I asked. "The Nowruz celebrations are over. They are building a new school for girls." A school for girls! Every night I fell asleep dreaming about going to school like my brothers. "Please, Babaji, ask Baba and Aziz if I may go. I must go." That evening, like most evenings, I sat by my brothers Jamal and Karim as they studied by lantern light. They attended the boys' school in the next village. Baba, my father, worked on our farm with my uncles and cousins. My 2 eldest brothers, Aziz and Ahmad, worked at the quarry cutting stones. They never wanted to go to school. Like us girls, they could not read or write. "Jamal, may I have a piece of paper?" I asked. "Why do you need paper? You don't have homework. You can't even write," said Karim. Yes, I could write. I had memorized the Dari alphabet, and I could spell my name. But I was afraid to tell my brothers. What if they wouldn't let me sit with them? I kept quiet. Whenever I found Babaji alone, I would whisper in his ear, "Have you spoken to Baba and Aziz yet?" I will, my dear Razia," Babaji would say as he patted my head. It was always, "I will." So I turned to my mother for help. "Bibi, have you seen what they are building on the empty lot? Babaji says it will be a school for girls." "Yes, I know," Bibi answered as she hurried me and Zara to join our cousins. They were on the way to the village tandoor to bake naan for dinner. I took my sister's hand. "Please, Bibi, I want to go to school. Girls from our village are registering. Girls from other villages, too. Sarah told me when we played hopscotch yesterday." Bibi handed us our dough and shooed us out the door. I called back, "I need to learn to read and write, Bibi. I promise to teach you. Please talk to Baba and Aziz." I will, said Bibi. She sounded just like Babaji. Months passed as I watched the school rise brick by brick from the dirt. But neither Bibi nor Babaji ever had an answer. At the beginning of March, the construction crew covered the bricks with white stucco that made the new school shine in the sunlight. They painted the door red, as bright as the flames of the tandoor. Each morning, as I swept the courtyard, I heard girls chatter about the nice woman who started the school and the teachers from Kabul. Each afternoon, as I fetched water from the well, I saw girls on their way home from registration carrying crisp new school uniforms over their arms. One night, as I lay on my mattress, I heard Babaji call my father, brothers, and uncles to a family meeting. I propped myself up to catch every word of their talk. Babaji started the jirga. "Razia wants to attend the new girls' school in the village. I support her desire. Some of you are too young to remember, and some of you were not even born. But before the occupation of our country, before the civil wars, and before the Taliban, women in Afghanistan were educated. They were doctors, government workers, and journalists. It is time to give our daughters and granddaughters Inde subs the chance to read and write. Our family and our country will be stronger for it." I couldn't believe my ears. Would I be allowed to go to school? The jirga continued. It was Uncle Iqbal's turn to speak. "Our girls need to help their mothers at home." "We need Razia to work in the orchards, too," Uncle Ali added. "Our trees are just coming back after years of drought, and Razia harvests almonds and peaches faster than any of us." "Razia can complete her chores before and after school. That will be the condition of her enrollment," Babaji replied. "Next you'll want Razia to go into town to shop by herself," said my father, wrinkling his forehead. "Or for women to shed their burqas in public," my brother Ahmad added. My brother Aziz ended the jirga. "Razia is not going." These 4 simple words made my heart sink. The next morning, I woke with the sun to practice my reading. From under my pillow, I took out scraps of newspaper that the baker wrapped around our freshly baked naan. Even if I couldn't go to school, I was determined to be the kind of woman Babaji had described, a woman who helped others through her work inside and outside her home. After my morning chores, I walked to the school. I passed a stone wall being built around the school grounds, and I knocked on the bright red door. A woman opened it and greeted me with a smile. "Hello, my name is Razia Jan. Come in, please." I entered a different world. Fresh white hallways, clean classrooms with desks, chalkboards, books, paper, and pencils, all in one place. It was unbelievable. I introduced myself. "My name is Razia too. I want to come to your school, but my brother and father will not give me permission." I told Razia Jan what I'd overheard at the jirga. Razia Jan offered to come home with me and speak to Babaji. Maybe together they could convince the other men to let me attend school. As soon as Razia Jan and I arrived, I ran off to find Babaji. Babaji, the Ma'alim Saiba from the new girls' school is here to speak to you. Please come greet her. Bring Baba and Bibi. I spoke a mile a minute so as not to waste any time. Babaji didn't look surprised to learn I had gone to the school on my own. He and Razia Jan spoke privately for several minutes. Then Babaji excused himself to find my father and mother. I stayed out of sight when the three returned to speak to Razia Jan. Razia Jan thanked my family for their time. Then she described how her school would teach Dari, English, Pashto, math, health, and hygiene to younger girls. As the girls got older, the school would teach them how to read the Quran, as well as geography, science, history, and algebra. Razia Jan also explained how her school would provide textbooks, a new uniform, and healthy lunches for all students. Best of all, she said, the school would be free. Baba sounded surprised to hear about everything the school would provide. He told Razia Jan he would speak to my brother Aziz when he returned from the quarry. But just then, Aziz walked in. Babaji spoke up. Aziz, I did not realize you were home. Razia Jan turned and introduced herself and her school. She knew Aziz was the one to convince. I ask you for your tolerance, if not support, for Razia's education. Please consider, if men are the backbone of Afghanistan, then women are the eyes of our country. Without an education, we will all be blind. Aziz shook Razia's hand and walked out of the room. I followed him. Aga Jan, why are you home so early? Are you feeling sick? I asked. His face was pale and sweaty. Yes, I have a fever. My body aches all over. I stopped for medicine on my way home, but I need Karim or Jamal to read the directions to me. Please, get me some water. Aziz closed his eyes. I poured a glass of water and brought it to Aziz. While he dozed, I picked up the medicine bottle and slowly sounded out the directions. I looked up and saw Aziz watching me. How do you know how to read? He asked. I listen to Jamal and Karim study every night, I said, counting out his pills according to the directions. Please, Aga Jan, please let me go to school. I will be able to help the family even more if I do. Aziz took his medicine and smiled. Then he went back to rest without uttering a word. Only a couple of days remained before Nowruz and the opening of the girls' school. I sat on the stoop, scrubbing potatoes for the evening's soup. If I could not attend school, I would ask my friends to share with me what they learned every day. That would be second best, yet far from perfect. As I picked up the last potato, I heard Aziz approach. Razia, he said. I peeled the potato quickly to avoid his gaze. I have reconsidered. I learned this morning that stones from my quarry are being used to build a wall around the girls' school. Aziz paused. I did not move or make a sound. Now I trust that you will be safe in that building, my precious sister. You may attend Razia Jan's school. I couldn't contain myself. I leapt up and threw my arms around Aziz. I promise to stay clear of danger. Thank you, Aga Jan. But you must complete your household chores before and after classes, Aziz continued. I will not let you down, Aga Jan. Thank you. Soon after, my family celebrated Nowruz in the orchards. We picnicked under the almond blossoms that were the first bloom of spring, and now the sign of a new school year. On the first day of school, Razia Jan greeted all the students at the gates of the Zabuli Education Center. Salamu alaikum, welcome. She patted each of us on the back, and we walked through the bright red door of our beautiful new school. I was led to the third grade classroom. My teacher introduced herself and then asked each of us to say our name and what we wanted to be when we grew up. My friend Sarah threw her hand up first. Ma'alum Saiba, my name is Sarah, and I want to be an engineer when I grow up. What's an engineer? Marwa blurted out without being called upon. I am too young to know that, but when I become one, I will tell you all about it, Sarah explained. Rahila waved her arms, and our teacher picked her next. I am Rahila, and I want to be a doctor. I will build a clinic in our village and treat all the children for free. I spoke last. Ma'alum Saiba, I have always dreamed of being a teacher, and I promised my mother and my oldest brother Aziz that I would practice on them.
Thanks for joining today's SDG Book Club Storytime. Reading is just the first step. If you want to take action, here are 3 ideas to support SDG number 4 on quality education. Help others learn. Maybe you could tutor students who miss several classes or just need a little extra help. Or donate books to your local library or a charity that distributes them to kids. Your old books will get a new life and help families who can't easily buy new ones. Or maybe organize a school supply fundraising drive with classmates or neighbors and donate the supplies to a local charity or a school that needs them. Everyone can help to make the world a better place.